I'm Pammy John, and I'm with the Boardman Arts Academy. I am so happy to be here. In this little diner, which is called Dixie's Diner, we have some sort of action going on with some characters, some of my favorite characters from some films, and then you see what they're doing. They're kind of socializing, and they're having a good time, and they're just being what they are. And you'll also note that in this little set right here, you'll see a little bit of history of a time frame. You'll see little ads on the back wall, what was popular at that particular time. Just to get started, I usually use acrylic paint. It can be inexpensive, it could be expensive, but just to get started, just whatever you can find, and just some nice brushes with a point. It doesn't have to be real expensive. I like to use the Green Art brushes, which are all natural. They're made out of nylon. They're not made out of animals, but whatever you can get your hands on is good. And I do use a lot of, you want to start off with a lot of black and a lot of white, because those are your shadows. Right now I just feel like I'm going to put in this area where my little character is. Let's see. Slimer, I think is his name. Okay. Get a little color going on there. There. And when that dries with acrylics, it's very much like watercolor. With watercolor, you're working from light to dark, but with acrylics, you don't have to worry so much about all the white showing and thinking kind of backwards. You just put your colors and make your lines, and you're in there. Okay. And we'll put some, I see some little red seeds. Just an impression. Well, I can see red in his legs. I think there's another little red seed there. I see this band around here is red. Coming around here is red. And a lot of silver, so we can make a little gray, some white, and some black. I love doing shiny things because there's always those wonderful highlights going on, and the more you add the dark and the light, the more real it starts to look. But everything's very loose. See a lot of on the sides, on the top. The windows. Just blocking them in. And then I'll go back and make them precise. Sometimes it can be a really quick little experience, and sometimes you might want to keep going back and adding and adding and adding. It takes you a long time. When I'm painting, I really love listening to music as I'm doing it, of whatever it is. Let's say maybe I'm going to paint dinosaurs. then I'll want to hear Jurassic Park or something like that music. Something intimidating and large. And it just guides my hand. In here I might be hearing something going shoo-ba-doo-doo-doo-wah. A lot of fun. Those wonderful old hamburgers that they used to make. You can make your own monsters up if you want. Somehow I can't see like a Freddy Krueger being in here. I don't know. These guys are kind of harmless. Let's see, some of the elements of design are form, line, texture, balance, symmetry. They're all different things that we would be talking about, and they all exist in our everyday life, no matter what we do. Yeah, I forgot the coffee cup there. Oh yeah, Slimer, let's put his little mouth in there. As I'm adding in these details, I'm thinking back to a lot of my work experiences in visual. I was in display for many years, and also I've done a lot of backdrops in different theaters. And when I'm actually working on sets, or I'm drawing a picture or whatever, when I think about those experiences and touching all the objects in 3D, it just feels like I'm actually working in a painting. And I just think it's such a wonderful experience for anybody to have, to understand space and form. And that's some of the things I think by working large and thinking about walls and backdrops and things like that, it really helps you to understand space in your own daily life. Always been such a wonderful experience for me. A very physical experience, but nonetheless a lot of fun. Okay. Just keep adding all these little things that I see each time that I look at it. And there's no mistakes. You don't really make mistakes, and if they are, I call them all happy accidents. You just have a really way of making those mistakes work for you. When you get those little red eyeballs, that little red dot makes all the difference in the world, I'm sure, in his eyeballs. Yes. And I think he has a blue outline. There, he's starting to come alive. Let's get his tongue going on. Oh, Slimer. How about your belly? Get you going on. I think I remember that they were drinking Viennese cinnamon coffee. Red belly. Oh, I can't forget this character in the back. I gotta block him in with some color. That's also Slimer. Oh, not dark enough. Oh well. We'll get it. To get a darker one. Back here now we don't see the distinction enough, so I'm going to go back and put white over it. And then I'll need some brown. Where's my brown? There's my, here it is. How's that for putting it on a palette? It's right out of the can. Now see, some of these paints, you gotta mix them up a while. There we go. There's our Coke. What else? Do I see anything else brown? Not this minute. Maybe up in here. I can even add shadows at the end if I want to. If I see them, they leave an impression on me. Some blue over here. I decided to call this Pammy's Diner instead of Dixie's. So, there we go. The color sure makes things come alive. You just add a dot of color and you're in there. Sometimes just one little stroke will make all the difference in the world. If I can get this blue to go behind his eyeballs. See, I'm thinking, I'm starting to paint here and I jump back because I'm thinking I forgot to do the eyes. And I go back to that. That adds a little dimension. Put a little bit under here too. Add more shadows. And I go back to this. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's just whatever works for you. There is something else about the art world that I really, really love. And this is more like when you're in a teaching situation as opposed to actually working in it. And that is that other people really don't have to judge if your work is right or wrong. It's up to you. If you like it and you're happy with it. When you start competing and you're out looking for jobs, or you're trying to be in a show and stuff, it's a different thing. You're trying to meet other people's ideas of what art should be. But for your own satisfaction in your own world, you can put just whatever you want, and it's okay. I don't think anybody should tell you how it ought to be. Okay, go back to the red. A line over there that I missed. One there. We'll just make this black because that's what it is. Usually now with the floor, and if we start talking about perspective, things that go back in space get smaller and lighter. So the squares are going to be smaller. In one of our lessons we'll talk about picture plane and foreground and all those little precise things that you really need to think about if you're going to make something exact. It's just a formula, a way of organizing how to make something two-dimensional look three-dimensional. Because on a canvas or on a piece of paper, you have to, it doesn't move. And so you're putting moving things into that. So you've got to have some sort of rules and regulations to help guide you, but not necessarily. There were a lot of artists in history that they just did it, and they didn't have rules and regulations. They just did it. And a lot of the ideas of how to do this and do that were passed on by their family or their other artists teaching other artists, and artists would copy other artists. This is way before there was anything even thought of like a computer. But a lot of those old traditional ways, they still work today. And I know, like, I've done some murals, and when I work on murals, it's just so wonderful because I feel like I'm connecting to all those ancient people. Sometimes I did one mural. I was working on a mural with Egyptians, and I felt so connected to the thoughts of some of the ancient people. It was wondrous. It was just wondrous. Of course, I was playing King Tut as I was working, and that was fun. I let the music influence me. There is a quote that I'd like to share before we're done with this particular lesson, and it comes from Plato. He was an original thinker, and it will come from that little book that I received from John Herron, which was the first art school that I went to. Much like the movie Fame, where it all began there, and you really have to be serious about your love of art and have a passion for it. And thank you for being here. I had a great time. If you want more information, please contact us at the address on the screen. Till then.